next, anytime, anywhere. Don't be caught off guard, make sure you prepare. Hurricane, earthquake, a tsunami. Fire and flood threaten your safety. Danger approaching, pay attention to the warnings and advisories. Your essential items packed and ready, so you won't be scrambling in an emergency. Prepare and be aware.
This message is brought to you by the Department of Emergency Management.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Real Talk in the Face of Danger, a podcast brought to you by the Department of Emergency Management. My name is Marcus Myers and I'm your host today, and we have a very special topic that we're going to be speaking about with very special guests. The topic today is the role of volunteerism in emergency management. And joining us today, we have two guests right now, and then we're going to have two more that are joining us. We have Selwyn Brooks. He is a consultant to the Department of Emergency Management, and he is responsible for the various district emergency organizations. And also we have a volunteer with us. We have Kathy Harris, but the community persons know her as Ife. Hello, good morning, how are you doing?
Hi, good morning.
You good? Okay, great. This is a good place for us to start. So, Selwyn, somebody is looking at this video right now. They just clicked it on the DEM's YouTube, and they should keep watching. But I would like for you to tell them right now why they should keep watching this whole video and what they should get from it today.
I'm anticipating that from this video, persons who would have the opportunity to view it would have a better understanding and realization as to the role and function of the district emergency organization officers throughout the country and the whole concept about volunteerism. Volunteerism in today's world doesn't have the same meaning as it was yesteryear. But here it is, you have a cadre of persons who are members of the various district emergency organizations who volunteer and give up their time, their skills. They're exposed to a certain level of training, and they always or usually be the person in the community that will respond to any impact from any hazard. And I think we must rally with and around them and support them as much as possible, because we will be impacted someday.
Yes.
And you need to have our communities with a level of resilience that they can respond. You can't stop the impact from coming, but with training and the exposure which the DEO members bring to the various communities, we will be able to respond much better.
So when we hear DEO, which is District Emergency Organization, what exactly does that mean?
The persons who are district emergency officers are drawn from the various constituencies. There are 30 constituencies and there are 30 district emergency organizations. And it is always good that the membership from each unit is drawn from the community from which they are formed. It means that it makes it easy for them to get to know what is in their respective communities in a real way. It means that if the response that will become necessary, they are within the community, so they're ready and willing to respond, as opposed to a person being in an organization that has no come into the community. And it also gives them the opportunity to interact with the residents, to become familiar with them, to get to understand what are the issues, what are the hazards, and by education initiatives that the DEOs carry out from time to time, that synergy and cooperation between community engagement would lead to building the level of resilience that we see.
Yes, and when you speak about familiarity with the residents in your district, that's a good time to bring in Ife. Because it appears as though you put in the work and the hours and your community knows you well. So first of all, which community will you be representing, which district?
I represent St. Michael West.
Nice. Big up St. Michael West, massive, man. Okay, so tell us, I guess, a bit about your volunteer work and what it has entailed in your tenure.
As a community activist, just over 2 years ago, when I found out that the DEM was looking to start, apparently there were DEO before in St. Michael West, but it's not functioning anymore. So when I was told about Mr. Brooks and how he's looking to have another DEO in the neighborhood, I was like, I ain't that. Because I thought this is just another opportunity to continue my community work. It was my pleasure to find out that it's coming with a whole education, because you're learning so much new skills. And at that meeting, Mr. Brooks convinced me that I am the person that should go up for a chair.
How did he do that? He's a man. He's a man of many words, and he's very convincing.
Because they talk a lot. But everyone apparently agreed with him because I was voted in as the chairperson. And what I'm trying to do right now is to get as many persons in the community to join, to see us, to hear what we are saying, and the members that are functioning right now to bond. On Saturday, we had an activity, a thrift shop at the O-Level Institute, and it was a good bonding experience for the members. We totally enjoyed spending the day together. And what we want to do is raise funds for our own equipment. There's a lot of things that we need, and we can't expect the DEM and government, like you say, to provide all of these things, and we are going to, through time, have fundraising activities and raise funds to get the things that we need. But what I would also like to see is the persons in the community that when there's a rainstorm, anything, these persons come out. And these persons, they want to help. But there's a safe way to do it. If they join the DEO, they will learn the correct way to do things,
Right.
the safe way to do things.
So it will bring structure.
We want young people. We want older people. We want everybody to come and join, or at least to know that the DEO is there and to support us, and we can support them in whatever is happening in the community.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that happen in the communities. You had just said rainstorm. Can you give us an idea of the various emergencies that may occur in a community, and what you may have to come and volunteer yourself for? What kind of activities may happen, or what kind of emergencies may happen?
Well, we just had a really bad fire. 4 houses were burnt completely down, 2 damaged, 23 persons displaced. That was a total disaster. We have areas like Bridge Gap that is flooded, and the water and garbage come from St. Thomas and come down. And 3 years ago, there was a container rolling down the street in the water. And that could be a real serious disaster, and we would like to have that problem sorted. The canals need to be opened up. We need people in the neighborhood to know where the fire hydrants are. The firemen had a really hard time getting to those houses because the fire hydrant, it wasn't operational. Cars were parked badly in the road. The road was very narrow. We need people to be aware of these things. The houses are very old. So whenever the rain falls, you've got people with house problems. There's a lot of things that could be fixed over time, but you have to know what the problems are and how you can fix them.
Interesting. Very interesting. And Mr. Brooks, hearing that, it puts me in a place of, I can imagine that each district will have their own various issues that would arise, and that could be based on where it is geographically situated and the amount of persons that are there, etc. Can you tell us a bit about that, a bit more about what other emergencies persons that will be volunteering would be looking out for in the various districts?
Yes, let's look at those persons who we classify to be vulnerable or disabled. In the time of impact, because of their actual conditions, they will become vulnerable. And by identifying these persons beforehand, the DEOs will be able to know who they are, where they are, what's the level of their disability or their vulnerability, and will be able to offer some assistance to them. We also look in terms of the schools. The schools are mandated to have a number of emergency drills and exercises from time to time. So those DEOs who have been able to engage the principals of some of the schools have been able to assist. We've also been able to identify by our community profiling what are the hazards, so that having that information and knowing the vulnerabilities and the risks associated to these hazards, it gives them the data that they can compile their community plans. Now, community plan is a summary of what is in the community, how we recognize the risks and the vulnerabilities and the dangers opposed that are risks to these hazards, and you engage members of the community to be part of that community plan so that when something happens, there's some level of response at the community level until the regulatory agencies arrive. And I think no policeman don't drive around or fire service don't drive looking for fires so it's the community who will be impacted first, and they are the first responders, and by offering that level of knowledge to what exists and what can happen and how it can affect them, that is one of the key functions of the district emergency organization. So you can have that information with their community and engagement, so it will make the country more resilient. It starts from the home, it extends to the family, it extends to the community, and a resilient community combined makes a resilient country.
So in a way, it's like empowering the communities that yes, we will still rely on the relative authorities, but until they get there, we wouldn't just be twiddling our thumbs. We know what to do, and we'll be empowered with that information and education.
And that empowerment comes with ownership as well. I think the level of complacency in Barbados is because we have not been impacted since 1955. Now, all of us in this room was not born then. So the time has come even more now than before for citizens to take ownership of their own emergency processes, planning, and response, so that there's some level of expectancy that the government does this and the government does it, but the government can't do all. The government will not insure your home. The government will not come and tell you what you should do. I think you have to take the level of response and capacity within your own grasp based on what you can afford, and see what you can do to mitigate and to protect your investment and the safety of your family and the environment in which you live.
Ife, when you see your district empowered and educated after the benefits of what the DEOs do, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really good, but we still have a lot of work to be done. The most important thing for me is to have people gain the knowledge of what to do and the correct way to carry out the work. With the training that we get with like chainsaw and damage assessment and the vulnerable persons, if we get more people in the DEO, I mean, St. Michael West is a very large constituency, and we have not even been able to cover the whole thing in terms of the vulnerable persons. And then you have to keep checking back with the persons that you checked in with. So we need the numbers. We need people to volunteer. We need people to know what is going on in the community, what is going on around them, what is going on with the neighbors. We need people to be trained to know how to do things the correct and the safe way. And these are the things that I would always push. We need people to come out and participate.
And Mr. Brooks, there's a lot of work to be done, but I can imagine that there are some major achievements that have been made, especially say like in the last 5 years. Can you list some of those just so we can really understand from an overview how you've really impacted, the DEOs have impacted us?
Yes, by the shared expression here by Kathy and the other persons, you will get to realize that we have the achievements over the last 4 years, 5 years. We have seen an emergence of more people coming to join the DEO, younger people. We've also, and this is primarily because of the department has sought to maintain a training schedule. Safety is paramount when you look at disaster management. And the knowledge that persons will gain from the training, they don't only use it within the confines of the district emergency organization. That is the training that they can help themselves, their family, and by extension take that level of training into the workplace. So we have seen what is happening of late is an emergence of people wanting to join, and for that we are thankful for. We have also seen the business community have started to understand the benefits of having an active DEO within the environment in which their businesses are housed, because you can feel assured that you have some level of community response until the regulatory agencies arrive. And more importantly, I'm seeing the commitment coming from some of our district mercy organizations, which speaks well for the country. I'm not going to say more about the other persons within this interview. The exuberance and the enthusiasm that you hear coming from Kathy and the other persons is manifested to the fact that the district mercy organization is on the rise, and they're doing as much as they can. Kathy has indicated that we have still a lot more to be done, but it is far better than it was some years ago.
But what is the broad vision for the DEO in the years to come and the future?
How can we build resilient communities? That is the focus. How can we get persons within the community take responsibility for some of the impacts that happen? Flooding in some areas is as a direct cause of negligence and bad habits. And I don't think anybody can refute that. But how can we instill in the residents that, look, the flooding is occurred because of us throwing garbage or allowing garbage to go into the drains that block the wells. Some persons, their houses are impacted because they have not done the required maintenance checks. And I know some people say it's expensive, but nevertheless, if you have built a house with a certain value, it is your home, and it is your responsibility to seek to have as much as possible how you can retrofit it and how you can have that level of resilience to the hurricanes, which is only one hazard, but the other dangers that can come your way. So I think going forward, the whole concept of ownership at the community level to disaster management has to be paramount in our vision going forward, so that the country will be able to cope and respond to the level of impacts that climate change seem to be offering us of late, because the intensity and the severity of the impacts is not going to lessen. It's tended to increase, and we have to build resilience to it.
Yes. And that, if all those things are in place, I could see us having a very bright future. But I'd like to just get some final words from both Ife and Mr. Brooks about what you will want persons to take away. And starting with Mr. Brooks.
I hope from persons viewing this, they will understand that they need to get involved, and they should get involved. I hope that persons seeing this will get to see the district emergency organization in a different light. It is not just about volunteering. It is about offering yourself the opportunity to be trained, and that knowledge that you gain from the training not only helps build the resilience, but it helps you to protect your investment and the safety of your family. So come, get on board with us.
Yes. Ife?
I would like everyone to know that it's a great organization. The DEM is a great support system. And even in my job with the National Assistance Board, with the training that I got from the DEM so far, I could see how it works in my job. So each person that is part of the DEO could take what they learn and apply it to their lives, to their work, to their community, to the world.
I feel if everybody has your passion, I can save Barbados in good hands. I know that for a fact. I really appreciate your words, and we're going to continue this in a second. But many hands make light work is my main takeaway from this. And the more persons can be empowered and educated, the better we will all be for it. And I really thank you for joining us and giving your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Real Talk in the Face of Danger. And if you want to get any more information, you can follow the Department of Emergency Management's social media channels. This can be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, but you can get all of your information there. I'll see you in the next episode.